The last time we had played, you put an end to the influence the Arcanus Observatory had over the Lycan city. The dream ended, and the glow of the crystal subsided. However, as it became painfully obvious, things would not simply revert. Not for the Lycans, nor yourself. Returning to Dart and Mansion, some of you underwent certain changes, marked by the time you had been dead, and certain actions following immediately after. Loret's changes were partially marked by his exposure to Romo's lost silver. Both he and Huxley had undoubtedly been greatly changed by the Blight's influence, despite the mere seconds of their deaths. Coming to terms with your own conditions, you later returned to the Lycans, still missing a definitive lead on Boltzmann, which you'd eventually discover through conversation. Just as you'd discover just how broken the Lycans seem to be now, having experienced some sort of horrendous visions and having their dream, their only method of coping, removed. You learned of an old prison of the Lycans near the edge of the city, the edge of the crystals, where Boltzmann was apparently brought and imprisoned. We ended last session as you arrived at its edge, a circular hole in the ground, and you exchanged a few words with a horned Lycan that seemed knowledgeable about the structure, before you began to descend down towards the prison's entrance and Guardian. That is where we begin today's session. As Evelyn steps over the pit's edge and begins to descend, how do the rest of you follow? How do you descend?
Unfurl my Mothman wings and hover down. I need to remember to stay away from Huxley though.
What do you mean?
What do you mean? I was still exhausted.
It's fairly deep. It's difficult to gauge from up here. You can see that past this sort of circular hole, the pit itself widens towards the bottom, but you have quite a distance to descend. Easily more than 100 feet.
Can carry you. Or Venona. Probably. I'm strong.
How does
If
Huxley descend?
they have dragon wings,
Mm-hmm.
so I can fly.
About Vint.
I think we told Vince, correct me if I'm wrong, but weren't we having Vince stay up there, or is he coming down?
I think he's staying up there and just providing fire support if we need to run back here.
Mm-hmm. So Vint is not coming down yet, at least. He's currently staying at the top. Looking down and watching.
Yeah.
Who just showed up over here?
Okay. So, leaving Vint up. over the pit.
It's the unobserved observer.
As you begin your relatively slow descent down the pit, you fairly soon notice Vidar following suit. Simply gliding down alongside you. Evelyn,
Mm-hmm.
do you have your detect magic on?
Yes.
And slowly you descend into the circular hole, which opens wider underground into this sort of half dome, ringed along the sides by round pillars. Towards the dome's edges, an unnatural darkness hides the wall's details from you, but your attention, Evelyn, is somewhere else entirely. Your field of vision drowns in color as you near the ground. Not the bright glow of active magic, but the colors of magic nonetheless. A quick glance towards Vidar and the subsequent eye contact is enough for you to confirm that he sees it too. Powerful and ancient magic lies dormant in the pillars, the walls, the floor, even stretching up the walls toward the dome above. Can you go ahead and roll me an Arcana check?
Yeah. Let's say 21.
Even before you touch down, before you reach contact with the magic surrounding you, this magic feels absolute, infinitely complex, like that of a god, something that you've experienced in the past. Though you note a key difference. At the time that you were exposed to divine magic or traces of it, you hadn't realized. You only notice now that it is absent. Previously encountered divine magic, magic in general had a certain presence to it. As if the caster had just been there, is still watching, or had simply left part of themselves in it. But not here. For lack of better terminology, this magic feels abandoned. Like a machine left behind by its engineer. Still working, dormant, but left to itself and forgotten. Strangely, it vaguely reminds you of magic you encountered far below Polythreme in the lost city of Avalda. The structure and purpose of the magic was entirely different, but the lack of presence was there too, now that you understand how to word it.
Before touching down fully, Evelyn would kind of speak up. There is magic throughout this entire structure. Something dormant. Be cautious. And Evelyn herself would not actually, in case it's activated by like touching the ground, she would stay hovering above the ground.
Mm-hmm. Silas, you take immediate note of something else as you descend. The overwhelming stench of old fur, matted and filthy. But a distant, sweet, acidic scent lies in the air also. One that your own experiences link to danger, one you've encountered most when in the presence of blight. And as if giving an answer to an unasked question, a bestial grunted exhale echoes through the dome. From the shadows toward the south.
Which way is the south?
Oh,
Okay.
yeah, that's a good point.
Evelyn would be shifting a bit.
Trying to check. I was like 30 feet from.
Go ahead and roll me a perception roll.
This
Towards the edges of this ringed circle, the darkness seems almost unnaturally unpierceable, even with your new improved sight. Even as your eyes slowly adjust to the low light conditions of the dome. Despite this, you see a slight shimmer, like that of a wet substance or surface. There look to be distant holes in the ground, ringed by some sort of dark liquid.
Did we all hear the like growl?
Yeah.
Evelyn will be shifting just to be a little bit further away from that growl.
Yep, same. At the middle a little bit. I assume we will have to go in. But if you want to come out, whoever you are.
As you speak up, you hear this shuffling. Slowly, this almost slow dragging of something scratching along the ground. And from the shadows, you first see horns pierce out of the darkness before you slowly see the rest
Goodness
of them.
gracious.
A lurching and twisted figure of very unusual proportions.
You know, I was wrong. You can go back.
You see hoofs sort of dragging across the ground, elongated and wry arms slowly dragging forward, a very heavy and massive head. A head that is an amalgam of eyes, horns, and skulls.
Just gonna. Are we allowed to back away a little bit more?
Sure. For a moment, the creature stands there at the end, lurched and sort of slowly moving into the light. You see its arms sort of outstretched before it, almost like you'd see an ape standing, until you see it sort of almost stretch backward.
Does it look like there's like blights floating around this thing?
Its fur seems matted and black, and there seems to be a dark substance. It looks, at the very least, very similar to the blight you've seen. It leans further back and, like a rubber band, stretching and then releases, charging forward towards you. In a few steps, it starts to close the distance, and you can go ahead and roll initiative.
What the fuck?
Probably about 20 or so feet, if it stands up like in the picture. As it rushes forward, charging, its head almost runs along the ground. Every now and then you see one of its horns in its charge sort of dip below and catch the ground a little bit. And there's this sort of unevenness in its charge with every sort of resistance. As it starts to cleave along the ground, it adjusts its course. But the force of its charge remains steady.
I rolled a natural one. Thank you.
Evelyn, you go first, seeing the creature charge.
Yep. Oh, why'd you go there? No, come back here. Alright, I'm going to throw a firebolt at it. Attempt to.
Mm-hmm.
Only So 22.
22 does hit.
That is. That's 27 points of fire damage.
Mm-hmm.
I want to shift a bit. Did it look like it was charging red, or like?
It looks like it is charging right towards that.
Dude.
And Red looks frozen in place, like he's just gonna take it.
I should have done something different. I wasn't thinking. I can use. How far is that range? Okay, I can still use that. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull up my stopwatch. And it's against the thing. That is a let's say this is Wisdom saving throw. DC is 20.
Is this a spell?
Technically, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's casting a spell from my one of my upgrades.
Oof. That is probably a save.
Yeah. So I tried to cast slow on it. It did not work. That. I'm gonna shift this way then. That's my turn.
At the end of your turn, as a legendary action, it is going to finish its charge. Actually, I don't think it can fully get there just yet. Look at that. Almost. It continues just lumbering towards you.
No.
You see Vidar start to cast a spell. Which promptly fails. You see confusion written across his face as his eyes go to Huxley.
Yep.
Before he starts to move.
like the other casters moving away from him.
Yep. You carry on.
Silas. Yeah, you can easily go 60 feet up. Mm-hmm. You may roll all of those arrows with advantage due to its feature always reckless.
Oh. Yeah, it's better than a natural one.
A 15 does not hit. As the arrow strikes its hind, it gets stopped, tangled in this thick and matted, oily fur, simply failing to pierce. 18 does not hit. That'll hit. What type of damage does it do? As you lose your last arrow, it strikes. Visibly, it strikes. It pierces through what appears to be this thick, oily hind. But there is no reaction whatsoever. At the end of your turn, using another legendary action,
Oh no.
it finishes its charge. Making at the end a gore attack against Rex.
If it doesn't already, it should have advantage because of my
It is
initiative.
already always reckless, and it has brutal advantage, which means it rolls 3 dice.
What the fuck?
Fun.
Freaking A.
But you might as well roll 4.
Mm.
The third is already like an extra thing. I'm not just gonna give it a fourth one for fun.
Why not?
That's how it worked. Okay, I'm pretty sure that hits.
Yeah.
But lucky for you, it doesn't have extra criticals, because that would have been close. Okay, can you go ahead and roll me a DC 25 strength save?
Not a chance. My strength is 3.
Okay. And you are 10 feet, you are pushed 10 feet away from it and knocked prone. And let me roll the damage that you take. Surely I've saved this before.
I probably get the spacing right.
Yes.
That's about right.
You take 30 points of piercing damage.
Okay.
So far, fairly low.
Stop.
Shut up. Not every boss has phases. Okay. It is Huxley's turn.
Huxley is not the one to come up with a clever solution. But he's just gonna attack. Well, he's gonna rage. D8. Where's my D8? Okay, I can teleport as a bonus action, so I guess we'll teleport on top of him, or above him, and strike down with my scythe twice. With a 24 to hit
24 will hit.
and a 21 to hit.
The 21 does not hit.
Damn. Okay.
What type of damage do you deal?
It is slashing damage.
As your scythe comes down, as you strike with the point of it towards the creature's hide, you feel it almost sink into its thick, oiled fur, and then slip out of it. There was a point of resistance where you feel like you've made contact, but there is no reaction whatsoever.
Oh, that's all I can do.
At the end of your turn, you see the thing, after sort of rushing forward and pushing Red away, rear up, head pointed towards the open hole, and you hear it rumble and screech. As it does, it shakes its head violently. And you see droplets of blank flying and spraying across its front. From Red and Huxley, could I please get a DC 18 Dex save?
At 22.
Is a magical effect.
No.
That's a 21.
Nice. Well saved.
Okay. That means you only take 12 points of acid damage, as a few sprayed droplets of black liquid hiss as they hit you. Many of these droplets fall to the ground as you do your best to avoid the brunt of it. But as they remain on the ground there, this area is considered difficult terrain and there is acid present. If you enter the zone for the first time or end your turn there may be consequences. And with that, it is its turn. It is going to attack Red twice. You see it from its sort of reached up position fall back forward, catching itself with both of its elongated arms as it claws at you with those very arms, Rand.
I'm sorry, okay? That misses. That hits.
Okay. Can you go ahead and roll me a DC 15 Wisdom save?
Fail.
You take 15 points of slashing damage, and can you go ahead and roll me a 1d4?
Three.
Your wisdom is reduced by 3.
Okay.
And then it is going to also attempt to crush Huxley as it whips around and tries to stomp you into the ground with its legs.
Huxley's on its head.
Yes.
I think Hux is following.
You would be not exactly attached to it unless you would have tried to hold on.
I'm flying.
Yeah.
So it just has to like reach its leg really far up and then stomp me down really far.
It's got a pretty hefty counterweight at the front.
That's a terrifying mental image.
Can you go ahead and make me a DC 15 Dex saving throw, Huxley?
That's a 16.
Okay. In the air, you do manage to avoid its powerful kick as it sort of rushes past you. You realize it would have been quite powerful to be hit by. But that for now is its turn. Which means it is yours, Red.
Gonna yell up to Huxley. Remember your breath attack! Don't drag! And you suddenly feel like a dragon. And you get to make a breath attack.
Right now?
Right now against this thing. DC, I think it's mine, so 21? Or 20, sorry. DC 20 dexterity save. From the thing that you're hovering above. I feel like you remember in your past, some past memory of being a dragon, you're like, yeah, I can breathe fire. Red told me I can. So Beggar, that's a dexterity save from this thing.
The breath attack is not a spell, is it?
It is not.
Okay.
Unless, like, the silver's stuff are spells, but I don't think so.
Only if it says, like, you're casting a spell.
No, it's a breath attack.
Dex save.
Okay, so it'll be
25 to
half.
save.
Roll your damage, dragon. 4d12 right here. Excellent.
What did you say?
It's 4d12, which I got out for you.
Oh, yes.
Your brother did. Okay, go ahead. It'll be half of whatever that is.
It's terrible.
Oh well.
So 17 total.
Which type of damage is that?
Fire.
Mhm.
Fire damage.
Yeah, you see flames flicking around the creature's form. And you see it visibly recoil from the fire.
Yeah, I'm gonna shout, remember, it's blight, fire, and radiant stuff. And Ben, shoot it! As I start, like, hovering up and floating away.
What's the range of that gun?
150 feet? I mean, you could
Oh,
shoot further at disadvantage.
I don't know if it can hear us, but maybe? That's
So it would be roughly like here-ish.
He was told
like
to guard
100
it
feet
and
up.
provide fire support, so...
Yeah, I just don't know if he can, I don't know logistic-wise, if... that's probably a bigger call, I don't know. If,
I can yell pretty loud. Let me make a performance check.
You'd be able to shout out of the pin.
Can I roll an attack for the cannon then? Vint?
If you really want to.
I really want to. This is what the cannon was made for. It's 29.
Illid?
Okay, 10.
Does it technically have advantage?
Does it technically have advantage?
Yes.
I don't know, you mentioned reckless things
Yes.
earlier.
Okay.
Yes, it does.
Listen, gotta search for that.
Nope, 29's the best.
Okay.
Oh, is it 10 or... Oh, 10 to 8, sorry. 48 radiant damage.
As you see this beam of light just cut through the dark, you see the light reflecting in the creature's many eyes. Huxley, you feel like something is wrong.
What's that mean?
As you take 48 points of psychic damage
Oh, shit.
due to its feature illuminating what should not be seen.
No.
No, I believe
No,
we
we got
all
rid of
don't
the-
have the vulnerability
Yeah.
anymore.
Now it's back to
But
normal.
radiant damage dealt to this creature is reflected as psychic damage to anyone within 15 feet.
Wow.
Oof.
Radiant.
And then I'm going to try to cast a spell.
Okay.
Do I need any check for being near it or anything?
Strangely, despite being in the presence of a creature that has clearly been marked in some way by the blind, you do not get the same sense of magic absorption that you get even from Huxley.
Interesting. Okay, well, I'm gonna cast a true polymorph on myself. That will end my turn.
Okay. We wrap around to the top of initiative. Evelyn.
What's the right choice? I'm going to attempt to attack it with a psychic lance. That's an intelligence saving throw. DC 20.
Mm-hmm. Your psychic lens strikes. You can feel it connect. Despite this, there seems to be no reaction.
Okay. That's mostly what I wanted to figure out. Then Edwin will mention, right, stick to fire, psychic also isn't going to do much. And then she really doesn't want to be near these two now, so she's gonna shift a bit. Back. That away. And that's her turn.
Then at the end of your turn, as a legendary action, it once again rears up. This time, letting out a guttural scream that echoes throughout the dome. Using its maddening presence, anyone within 120 feet of the creature, I believe that encompasses pretty much everyone. You have to tack on an extra 20 because of its
Yeah.
size. So that's pretty much, yeah. Except Vint. Please give me a DC 18 Wisdom save.
The fail.
It would be. I'll use a legendary resistance though.
Nice.
See how it is now.
Yeah.
I'm getting counter legendary.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, do it.
Mm-hmm.
You can do it.
It's telling you something, dude. The dice are telling you.
Oh
Are
no.
you sure the die? I think the dice sent you a very clear sign just now. Never mind.
Oh, I thought
Oh.
you would have
The
another
dice are
one.
fickle. Mm-hmm. And those who failed, you are frightened for 1 minute. You can repeat that save at the end of each of your turns. And in addition, can you go ahead and roll me a 1d4?
One.
Your wisdom is reduced by 1.
That's rude.
And that is its legendary action. Silas.
Oh. Oh yes. Yes.
Okay. Dex save. Ooh. Oh. That's a 16, unfortunately. There's this straight line of liquid fire that spews forward, and you see the creature react in a way that it has not avoided any other attack so far, at least from you, by dodging out of the way, avoiding the flames. Mm-hmm. Then you see Vidar cast a spell. You see a mote of red, yellowish energy here in front of the creature. Stay at least 20 feet away from that sphere. And that is his turn.
Where is it? Is it like here?
It is right here. And then at the end of that turn, it is going to make a leap attack, pushing off of the ground with its powerful legs. It is going to leap up and slam down right next to Red. The red dragon.
Amazing.
Can you go ahead and make me a DC 18 Dex save?
Maybe. That's a fail.
You take 27 points of bludgeoning damage and you are knocked prone.
Yes. It's fine.
Which makes it Huxley's turn.
And we want to set him on fire.
Mm-hmm.
And I cannot breathe fire anymore.
No, sorry, it was just a one time.
But I do have 9 vials of cleanser oil.
Do it.
Yes.
Do
Which is
it.
my only source of fire, so
You could be a lava element. Wait, haven't you been a lava element before? I mean, you do your thing. Sorry.
Yeah, don't worry about it, yeah.
Huxley seems to be concerned about something. He is struggling. And he's just gonna take out the cleanser oil.
Mm-hmm.
He's struggling with something in the air. Yeah. Can I just, if I'm like right above it, I assume I can just pour the cleanser oil on with an action.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'll do.
How many vials do you empty out?
4.
Okay. You see this streak of poured oil hit the creature's back, almost mixing with its already very oily looking hind and spreading across its back. Is that your turn?
Yes. I guess I'll teleport.
Then is a legendary action. It is going to try and crush the dragon.
So rude.
Mhm. He's just jealous. He wants to be a blight werewolf dragon.
As you are prone, can you go ahead and make me a DC 20 dex save?
Oh. Let's fail.
And you take 42 points of bludgeoning damage.
Yeah? Yeah. No, I can succeed. I'll have to use the legendary resistance. Okay, you said 42?
Mm-hmm.
Is it half if I succeed?
Yes.
That's good. Anything else?
As it's shown a propensity to move. At the end of its legendary action, Vidar is going to drop concentration, letting the delayed blast fireball explode. Huxley, how do you feel about rolling a lot of dice?
Love rolling a lot of dice.
Can you go and roll me? Okay, can you roll me 12 d12? I can pull them out for you. There you go.
D1. Again. I know there's a lot of 8s there, I guess.
Okay. As the fireball goes off with this explosion, its hind, or at least the parts of it covered in cleanser oil, also go up in flames. These streaks of bright, colorful fire. as you set the creature aflame.
Nice.
So that ends. It is also its turn. As the fire burns and streaks across its skin, it's almost as if you see bubbles welling forth from its fur. These oily bubbles that seem to open up large and deep gashes along the creature, staining the ground in slick black puddles and spheres. And it is going to make some claw attacks against a certain dragon.
Dragon has literally done nothing to it. I don't know.
You talk to it.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh, wow, that was horrible. Damn.
They all hit though.
Okay. All three hit?
Yes, indeed.
Rhett has stronger armor than a dragon.
Mm-hmm. Incredibly. Well, dragons are just bigger and easier to hit.
Okay. So. You take 24 and 23 points of slashing damage. And can you go ahead and roll
Okay.
me 3 DC 15 wisdom saves?
Oh my goodness.
Oof.
Fine. Making me roll so much. I pass all of them.
Oh, okay.
Amazing.
Dragons are really wisdomy. How much damage was it overall?
24, 24, and 23.
I got it.
78.
Jeez.
A lot. I'm glad you're
The
taking that.
dragon is bloodied before its first attack. Thanks.
And speaking of your turn, it is your turn.
Can I take my legendary action first?
Sure.
I'll make a wing attack. DC 22 dexterity save, please.
That is a fail.
Okay, so this will be 2d6. Does it take bludgeoning damage even?
It does not.
Should I ask? Okay, well it is knocked prone then, and takes no damage.
Okay.
If it can't be knocked prone. Then I'm gonna slightly maneuver it this way. And then it's my turn?
Yep.
Okay. And I'll make a breath attack. Which will be a DC 21 dexterity save. Against this prone thing. I'm gonna kind of fly up in the air and
It fails.
take 68 fire damage.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think I multi-attack if I do a breath attack, right? Pretty sure.
Usually multi-attack states which attacks it does as.
Yep, I think so. So I'm going to fly up instead then.
Mm-hmm.
Fly up. Yeah, it'll be able to reach me either way, so 40 feet. Yeah, it's fine. I'm just slightly hovering off the ground, but I'm a little further away this way. And that is my
Okay.
turn as the dragon.
At the end of your turn. +80 plus 20 is 100. I need everyone in this circle to make me a DC 20 Dex saving throw. As it once again rears up its head and shakes itself. You see shreds of fire flying off with these large globules of its own blood ? This black liquid then seems to boil forth from its wounds.
That's a success.
It's a fail.
Huxley,
Sorry, yes.
I need a DC 20 Dex save.
That's 22.
Okay. Those of you who saved only take half of this damage, so 19 points of acid damage. The rest of you take 39 points of acid damage. As it shakes, you see these globules and bits of black liquid spraying everywhere. The stains spread and flow across the dome's floor, to the point where you're not entirely sure if the black is from the creature's blood or if it's spreading its color through the ground itself, as puddles and smears spread further and further. I don't think any of you are even touching the ground at this point. But if you are, this area is considered difficult terrain. And we wrap around to the top of initiative. Evelyn.
Going to do another firebolt at it. Disadvantage. The save is at the end of my turn for frightened. Is that right?
I believe so.
Okay.
Yes.
That's probably going to miss, I believe. Yeah, that's only a 14.
14 does not hit.
I don't know if I can do. I think so. Yeah. That will. That'll be my turn.
Okay.
I might fly up another like 5 feet, 10 feet. So I'm gonna be at like 20 feet up.
At the end of your turn. Huxley, how high up are you?
Kind of like head height of the creature.
Then as a legendary action, it is going to make a charge attack at you. As it rushes towards you, almost in this half leap, slamming its head in your direction. Assuming a 36 hits.
Yes.
Can you give me a DC 25 strength save?
Um. That's 23, so I fail.
Your flight ability, does it include hover?
I don't think.
Then as you are knocked prone out of the air, you will fall.
Oh, I can hover. Yes, I can.
Okay. And you are prone and pushed back, but you are still in the air. You take 42 points of piercing damage and 7 points of acid damage. And that is its legendary action. Silas.
Yeah.
Yep, there's still oil, it is still a flame. Mm-hmm. Yep. $23 does it. It would trigger Mark of the Void, but the Mark of the Void would only copy the weapon's original damage, so it wouldn't do any extra. Yes.
Ouch. Damage.
Hey,
Yeah,
Good roll.
it's something.
it's pretty good.
Yeah.
Okay.
I did no fire damage on my turn, so
At the end of your turn, as a legendary action. It is going to attempt to charge towards Silas. You see it running towards you as you are up higher in the air. But it seems undeterred by the distance. Jumped about 40 feet up easily. I'm not quite sure. Last time it didn't really do a run up.
I believe in you.
Huxley. Can you go ahead and roll me these 3d12 for the ongoing fire damage?
Oh my god.
Oof, ouch. Having shaken much of the fire from it, it doesn't take a lot of fire damage from the burning oil at the moment. And then it is your turn, Huxley.
How is it looking?
It's difficult to tell. The whole thing is kind of a mess to look at, but the mass of oil bubbling forth from its open wounds has significantly increased. It certainly doesn't look healthy, if it ever did to begin with.
Oh, am I still exhausted? Because if I am,
I don't actually remember.
It seems like yes, because Greater Restorations failed.
Right, yeah, I think, okay.
But I wouldn't know how much.
Well, there's not much I can do. I might. Okay, I'll stop raging and cast Fire Shield on myself. And some action. So
As you cast
and
Fire Shield, can you go ahead and roll me a
that's
wisdom
right.
save?
Yes. Also, can I just cast it without something happening?
What do you mean without something happening?
Okay, well that's an 1 from the wisdom save.
You successfully cast Fire Shield. But as flames leap around you, you recoil a little bit. There's this instinctive reaction that you feel like you yourself do not want to touch the flames. Your next attack is made with disadvantage.
But am I affected by my own arcane sinkhole?
No.
No. Then I'll try casting Healing Word on myself. As well. At 4th level. And then I will fly closer to it. Wait, I think I can get close. That's my turn.
Okay. The end of your turn with its legendary action. Mid-charge, you see it crouch. Its hoofed feet almost slitting across the slick, oily ground as it leaps, outstretching its elongated arms, reaching for Silas. I'm assuming a 30 hits you. Its claws outstretched grab hold of you. You are grappled as it pulls you down towards the ground. And then it is its turn. Silas, can you go ahead and roll me a DC 20 dex save at disadvantage? With both of its hands sort of clutching you, it holds you close to its mouth and it screeches. Again, shaking its head, it is spreading its corruption to you. You take 42 points of acid damage from the spray of black liquid. And that is its turn. Wrecked.
Here. I get something back. I didn't know how far something is. That's a long way. I don't think I have a whole lot of choices. Can I, well, I'm going to fly my 40 feet and then, like, just run into it with a dash. Oh, like that, yep.
Oh, okay.
I'm trying to knock it off balance.
Are you
I'm trying to
making
free
an
Silas,
attack?
but it's not because I don't have a charge attack, so just getting in its face.
Okay, but you don't have an action left for
I do not
that.
have
Okay.
an action for that.
Okay. You kind of get up in its face, but without making a shove attack, you can't really push
Right.
it.
Yep.
Then we wrap around to Evelyn.
Is Silas still grappled by this thing, or
Mhm.
thing?
Yes.
Okay. Then how high up was he? Or how high up is he? I need to be within like 90 feet of him, so I'm trying to figure out if I am.
How high is Silas right now?
Yeah.
Well, he got grabbed
Grabbed.
and pulled down, so at most about like 20 feet off the ground, or 10 feet
Okay.
off the ground
I
probably.
think he's.
Since it's holding it sort of like in front of
Is
its
he any
face.
closer than he is right now? Or is that like where his
Um,
token is on the map?
He
Sorry,
would be
Silas.
about here-ish.
I will move forward just a bit. I'm going to cast Vortex Warp on Silas. It's a con save, but you can choose to fail. And I'm gonna teleport Silas over. I'm gonna move you over here.
Okay. Then suddenly its hands are empty as Silas is teleported out of its grasp.
Put a dragon between you, if that helps. I don't know if Red appreciates that. But...
Alright.
It's fine. He's lost some wisdom, so he won't know any better. And then I'm gonna shift this way a smidge. Here. And that's my turn.
Okay. At the end of your turn, it's going to whip around and make an attack at the dragon.
Yep.
It is 22 points of slashing damage, and I need that DC 15 wisdom save again.
The wisdom save passes. I think this has pass. Yeah, nice. It's 22 slashing.
Mm-hmm. And with that, it is Silas's turn. I'm sorry.
Question I meant to ask you. How is Silas flying? What is he using to fly? Like when he's hovering, what is it? What was he using before?
No, what?
No. How are you flying? I was trying to make sure. Like, is it like, would you still be able to be flying if I teleported you into this space? Okay, it's a weak boost. Let me make sure I can actually. I might technically have had to put you on the ground. I think I have to put you on a surface.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry.
$18 misses. $19 also misses. Mm-hmm. Nice.
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
To be fair, I think we've about run out of our burst fire damage.
That's what, healing or movement?
I think I'll use movement too, because I can't regain temporary hit points. Can I regain hit points? I don't know.
I don't think we're going by the temporary hit point rule
Okay, well in that case, sure, I'll take that.
from the new polymorph.
Right near the top.
Okay. Then as a legendary action, there's going to be another attack at the dragon. Ooh.
Thank you. This might be it, guys.
Dragon, you were so nice for while you were here. Thank you for doing all the tanking.
We'll see if the concentration check's passable. Dragon has really good constitution though, which has been nice.
That's nice.
That is 44 points of slashing damage.
Me too, then.
It's got a plus 13. We're good.
Nice.
And then I need you to make that DC 15 wisdom save.
Okay. Okay. How much? A D4?
Mm-hmm.
2. Okay, dragon, you're dumber.
You
Oh, no.
lose 2 points of wisdom. This will carry over to your character as well.
What the?
Rude.
How does that
That's
work?
Rude.
That's not how polymorphs work.
He just wants us to use all of our diamonds.
That will be Huxley's turn.
I will get closer. That's my turn.
Okay. I mean, I got bad news. That's a legendary action. It's gonna make another swipe. Oof. Still 32 though. They get plenty of that shit.
We do. We just do stupid things in response to it.
They get shot with a lot of attacks that automatically hit too. You take 25 points of slashing damage.
Me?
Red.
Oh, just doing it.
Who does?
You.
do?
You.
Okay.
Daughter dragon. They don't want us to have a tank.
It's still a dragon. Okay.
Well, it's more so that the dragon got up in his face.
Yeah, it's fair.
I 120 feet. No, I'm kidding. And I need a DC 15 wisdom save again.
What the? No, not 9. Guess this is gonna have a -1. I still pass that as a dragon.
Okay. Then it is its turn. Oh, listen, it's not my fault. Nobody has drawn aggro.
No, it's fine.
I
The
have.
dragon is
I
supposed
definitely
to
have.
be there.
It is going to try and grapple you.
Okay.
Can you give me an athletics check?
So,
Testing with.
I think that's gonna be a pass. Oh shit.
Is it?
No.
Okay.
What was yours?
26.
Oh,
Oh, close. Okay, it is going to grapple you. And that for now is its turn. Oh, it is your
The
turn.
legendary action. At the end of its turn. Can it give me a DC 22 dexterity saving throw? If I not get prone by beating my wings. Oh, sad.
That's a 22.
So the dragon's like flapping his wings, trying to get away, and it does.
I mean, it's your turn, so.
It is. Let me see. Come on. Oh. I mean, like, I can take a bunch of attacks against it, but they do bludgeoning and slashing, which don't matter at all, right?
right.
I mean, you can do an athletics check to get out of the grapple.
Is that worth it? I can also just get out of the grapple.
Sure.
Mm.
Oh, that's what. Okay, yeah, I get it. Okay, all right, yeah.
Just whoop.
When that works, then it does put you out of the grapple.
I only have 15 hit points, so, you know. Classic. And I'll be scared, but I'll cast Wall of Fire, I think.
Nice.
It'll probably escape, but at least do some damage to start with. Like here. Here? Yeah, I'll just kind of break it up for the party. Oh, yeah. That way. I think the Wall of Fire is another dexterity save, DC 20.
How high is the wildfire?
It is 20 feet high, 60 feet
That is
long.
a definite failure.
Okay. 5d8. Hmm. 24 fire damage.
Mm-hmm.
And oh, I don't know. I probably better give somebody a bardic inspiration who's close to me.
Hux?
Silas. Hux, where's Hux? Where is Hux?
Behind the thing.
Oh yeah, Hux away.
I also carry the attack.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe Silas then. Gotta do fire damage. You gotta do the flamethrower again. You can do something with it, I think. I don't know. Flame it down. I don't know. That's my advice. I don't know. All right, that's my turn then.
Okay. Evelyn.
I'm gonna move up like 5 feet so I can see over the wall.
Mm-hmm.
I'm And then I'm going to do a firebolt. Is that advantage or no?
No,
I wasn't sure if the reckless thing was for spells or not.
it's specifically not for ranged spells.
Yeah. Makes sense. That's a 23.
Valid.
Sorry, 24. That is. It is 28 points of fire damage.
Solid.
And that's my turn.
With the wall of fire and the firebolt, you see the creature try and sort of move out of the fire. This mess of clotted black fur sliding on the ground with every step. Its claws and hooves scratching through the slick oil that has spread out far across the ground. And at last it shudders and falls, spraying droplets of black across the nearby pillars. As you are out of initiative. Almost simultaneously, Evelyn, you see the dormant magic flare up. The dome, what little of it you can see, shimmers with an eerie blue light. As you hear a loud crack echo through the stone floor. And this is where we take a short 5-10 minute break because I gotta go to the toilet.
Oh,
All
perfect.
right.
And I'll be right back.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, I'm just gonna let the fire burn it. Burn.
I'll also be right back.
Yep, same.
Can continue. As you fire into the body, as you let the fire burn, a crack that you all hear echoes through the stone floor. Then another. You see these massive cracks forming on the ground beneath you. And from above you hear a voice. Somewhere next to Vint, you see peeking over the edge the old horned lichen.
You broke the seal with the keeper's death, and another must be chosen. Fortune favor you in the pit below. I hope you find your compatriot.
Hi, thanks, ma'am.
As a fourth crack rings out, as the seal breaks, you feel not like falling. You feel a pull, a pressure bearing down on you as if gravity had multiplied. Like you're being held in place as the space beneath you stretches up and around you like a closing maw.
Can I cast a spell?
Sure,
Can I cast Resilient Sphere on myself?
sure.
And then we'll put herself in a bubble.
You can. Resilience sphere. You see rings of ashen stone rise around you as you drop into a great circular pit. Each ring of stone is slick with stains of black oil, or rather, more of the beast's blood. As you not so gently pushed towards the ground, land with your feet in a slick and damp puddle of oil. You find this pit rising around you, all the way up to a darkened ceiling that you cannot see beyond. But you are out of initiative and free to move.
Is it like the pressure is still on us, holding us down?
At this point, the pressure lets up.
I think my immediate reaction is to get out of the liquid and onto something dry.
You would be at half speed. As you move through this liquid, it is almost less like oil, it is almost tar-like in substance. At least here at the very bottom.
I'm gonna push my bubble upwards
Mhm.
and move it to over this way. But it'll
You
take me
push up
technically.
and over the edge of the side of this pit at the bottom. You see these great flows of this thick liquid slowly accumulating at the bottom. Where these flows come from, you cannot see. Immediately around you, you see signs of structures. Out of the black pitch at the bottom, you see broken pillars rising into the sky. Around you, you see, like miniature caves, these holes, entrances built into the black ashen rock. You see statues of what look like bony creatures, feral beasts by the looks of their bones.
The bones of this creature in the tar oil thing. Can I tell what kind of creature that is?
As it partially reaches out of the sort of tar, you can certainly make out some of its features. From its elongated bones and its skull clearly visible, it almost appears draconic in nature.
Mhm. Okay.
But without sight of its full body, you're not
Yeah.
entirely sure. Given
No.
the malleable nature of what you just encountered. Yeah.
Me?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I like your thinking.
Mm.
And then we could summon a blight dragon, or actually, ah,
Um,
I'm gonna briefly just heal myself and then examine this guard? I don't know.
Statue?
It's odd as you look at this statue. It seems hewn from stone, the same sort of ashen rock that you've seen pretty much anywhere, the same hue and color that you are standing on right now, in fact. But it's detailed, it's fur, each strand of hair, almost in a way that no craftsman would likely carve a statue so detailed.
Mhm.
This thing looks like it was petrified. What does that one look like? Same? Falling across those.
I
Helen will.
would also call it petrified.
Have you been here before, Radar?
Never. It would appear a place that visitors rarely get to see. Were their society not in upheaval above, I would doubt they would have granted us entrance.
I
Does
think
anyone-
probably a minute-ish would have passed, or close to, so the sphere will drop.
Does anyone else need some healing? Fly over here.
No, I'm fine.
Silas?
How are
Huxley,
you, Hux?
can you go ahead and roll me a perception roll? Huxley.
Oh, me. Yes, I can do that. Okay, that's a 70. No, perception 19.
For a moment, you observe the general movement of the target. Every now and then, there's this hill that forms. These slow bubbles slowly rising up and then popping in a very sort of viscous manner and quickly deflating. But there's a disturbance in this sort of flat surface of the oil. This small hill that doesn't seem to rise to the size of a bubble. That never really grows or reaches beyond its size. That appears to slowly move towards you.
We'll point to it. What's that?
Maybe we should move out.
House? Oh.
As you move out and past, for a moment you see a hand,
Ooh.
skeletal hand breaking out of the tar, reaching out, but far too slow to reach you. Before almost losing strength, it plops back down, sinking into the pit.
Right, let's
There was
stay
a
out
hand.
of the pit. Someone does want to move over where it looks like technically this is like within reach here, correct? Up here, like kind of comes down. Ellen was trying to get a closer look at it to try and based off of her like experiments and tests with the blight, Does this look like blight, or is this something else? If she takes a moment to carefully examine it.
It's on a sort of shallow investigation, difficult to tell.
Mm-hmm.
Everything that is sort of pitch, tar, oily does have a very strong similarity to the blind. Purely from its sort of substance and viscosity, it'd be difficult to tell. You'd likely have to examine it with tools.
Right, so if she did one like detect magic and then tried to take out some of her tools to see if she could interact with it a little bit, like not actually touching it but herself, but you like trying to gather some in a vial.
Are you just trying to collect a vial, or are you trying to make a more in-depth analysis?
I'm trying to do a more in-depth analysis.
Okay. It'll probably take you a couple of minutes.
Okay, so that's
easily enough you can sort of, grab a vial with tongs, careful not to touch it, and collect a sample and start examining it closely.
Mm-hmm. So Evelyn will do that.
I'm gonna wave Silas over. Just out of... And then I'm gonna heal you once you get away from Huxley. Sorry. You get 13 healing.
This party's no club and Huxley's not in.
I know. I feel really bad.
Bullied. You guys are bullies.
No. Then I'll walk back in.
These appear to be cells of a sort. There are bars, or what is left of them.
You see Vidal sort of leaning into one of these alcoves, clearly constructed in ash and brickwork. And indeed you see bars, some corroded and heavily worn down.
Huh. Anything useful, or? Guess I will search bars. Is he suggest? I don't know. It seems to read like he's suggesting to search the cells, so I'm gonna do that.
We find boltsman in one of these somewhere, it would be. Otherwise, not so much.
Oh, we got nothing else to do while Evelyn checks out this stuff. Silas and Huxley, do you want to help me search the cells around here?
Okay.
I think there's lots here. If we can get to the upper level, there's even more.
Question, Evelyn.
Yeah.
Something akin to a microscope. Would you carry something like that with your tools?
Yeah, she has a couple of lenses, not like that can pile on top of each other, to get more like a magnifying glass, than so she has a few, one of those that she's had for a while.
Can you go ahead and roll me an investigation roll?
Yes, I can. I'm gonna use my snip. No. That is a investigation. That's a 24.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Sorry. 25.
Okay. Then, as that takes a moment, what do the rest of you do?
Around as instructed.
Check each cell. Lie up a little bit. Check the cells up here.
Okay. Let's start where you are at. Red, as you peer into the cell, there is little you see initially. The cell you're looking at clearly has bars sort of bent outward. They're heavily corroded, and you see traces of black on them. Inside the cell, you see what can only be bones. This alcove extends quite a bit into the dark. And although it gets difficult to see, with your true sight you can make out most of what is inside. Which is, to you, useless piles of bones and rubble.
I intend to move on pretty quickly if I don't see,
Mhm.
Someone living or something shiny.
You can go ahead and move on. Which cell?
Yeah.
There is a mix. There are bones that appear clearly too long and too thick to be humanoid. There are some fragments of skulls that you find that are definitely humanoid, but there are also some that have clearly defined sort of canines. There are also ones that appear much more bestial in nature, closer to the petrified statues that you find all around the place. Do you also quickly move on, Huxley and Silas? Silas, much like Red, you find a empty cell, save for some rubble and bolts. Huxley, the cell you are standing in front of is still intact. You see bars stretching across the length of it. While the metal is somewhat rusted and not in the best condition, they still hold whatever is in place. Beyond the bars, you see not much else in the darkness. The cell itself appears to be empty. And as you move on to the next cell, which cell do you move to? Silas, Ren?
Fly up here. Would I know that these are?
Would you know that what?
That these are here? Like, would we have seen them on our way down? At least the holes.
Likely. You see these sort of rings of rock sort of spiraling around the whole pit. And you see, looking up, plenty of more cells all around the place. So you elect to fly up.
I think we just looked in these three, or at least what I'm assuming Vidar looked in this one. So yep, I guess I
When
do.
you
Silas.
draw on the map, try not to make points.
Oh, sorry.
Try to always make like a little circle when you do.
Yep. No
Because
problem.
points can get like really difficult to erase.
Yep.
Okay. You move to a new set of cells. Brett, you also find one that is entirely intact. Metal bars bar the way, protecting what appears like a pile of bones.
Okay.
Silas, you find another cranked open cell that seems to completely be empty.
It's gonna be going down the cell.
Mirroring the cell
Yes.
you had just been at Huxley before, it is also barred and empty.
This one?
Mhm.
Right, yeah. So move on to the next one.
He just checked this one right here.
Yep.
Evan,
Can I tell you roughly what Evelyn is trying to check?
sure.
There's a couple of things she was trying to double check on. One, is it similar to the blight or not? She is also going to try and pull out a vial of the lichen blood that she has on her, to compare that to the blood to see if, similar to how when they went into the catacombs, there was like that massive pool of blood. She's trying to see if this is also possibly somehow related to like a massive pool of like the lichen curse, for lack of a better word for it, or if it's just something other entirely. But that's kind of what she was trying to figure out.
About halfway through your examination, as you take a closer look at the liquid in front of you, there is a moment of recognition. What you are looking at is, in viscosity and substance, not unlike the blood. But at the same time, you see much more clearly small and separated cells, like those you'd find in blood. And moments after you come to that realization, you hear a dry rasp from somewhere behind you.
Evelyn's gonna quickly dash the vial she has gathered, and then glance to see which direction it was behind
You
her.
see Vidar quickly move to the side, holding a finger to his lips. The noise is coming out of here.
Then Evelyn will try and stealth a bit this way.
You see Vidar slowly light up the rock face.
Evelyn will stay close to the wall, try to get closer to that kind of cave entrance, and see, hear what kind of sounds coming from in there more closely.
You
But
hear
if
this shuffling and this almost raspy breath that has an echo to it, as if it was resounding into something hollow. And it
She
seems
will-
to be getting closer.
Okay, she will glance over to see if Hux is still investigating over there, or if Hux has looked around at all.
He's still like looking into these cells.
Okay. Then she will shift this way instead, staying close to the wall. And
Can
kind
you
of
go
trying...
ahead and roll me a stealth check?
Yeah. I haven't rolled stealth in ages. Ew, that's gross. That's a 13.
Very slowly, you see horns peering out of the dark alcove. You see this sort of skeletal form slowly shuffling out, covered in shreds of fur and oil.
Can she shift back into this little, like there's
Sure.
the trying to kind of go backwards that way and tuck for cover a little bit more?
Mm-hmm. You shift
In-
into the alcove.
Before you're backing up into another one.
Yeah. Listen, I heard this one. I don't want to be in immediate line of sight if I can. So, choices.
Which cells do you guys move on to?
I think
You've
once
placed
we're
yourself
at.
at them? Okay. All of you find empty cells. And you may move on to the next.
I can say we search this one too.
Evelyn, you observe the creature move forward, continuing out of the alcove. You don't see eyes, a mouth, or really anything on its head except horns. Despite this, you see its head sort of swing around, almost in this low arc, back and forth.
Someone's gonna try and stay as still as possible, barely breathing.
Silas, which cell are you searching? Okay. Silas and Huxley, you both find empty cells. Well, save for a few bones. Rhett, as you peer into yours, you see a dark pile in the corner.
Okay, I'm just gonna like whisper again. Is it like maybe clothing? Maybe fur?
It's
I
difficult
can't tell.
to make out. It looks like cloth or fur. It is this sort of amorphous pile almost.
I'm just gonna like say, Psst, Boltzmann. See if I can get any response with that.
You get no response. But as you turn to leave, you see the pile move.
Can I what? Oh no.
You see arms, hands merge as the pile sort of lifts itself off of the ground. A pile not of fur or cloth, but it appears to be leathery skin, almost draped over the creature's cowl.
Oh no.
And it turns towards the entrance.
I should have asked prior, are the bars intact?
No.
Oh! Oh no! Well.
And it starts shambling towards you.
Well, okay. Well, you know.
Red, you can go ahead and roll initiative.
Yep, that makes sense. Yeah. Sorry, everybody.
Well, with its fairly slow lumbering gait, you are first.
I think I'm going to take off in the air a bit. Back toward the edge. And then, I'm just going to give it a magic missile. For a total of 12 force damage.
Mm-hmm. Your magic missiles fly out, striking the creature's skeletal form, and you see pieces of it start to chip and shatter.
Perfect. Then I'm gonna like look over my shoulder and see if I can spot anyone. Probably spotting Vidar first, I'd guess.
You spot Vidar. You see him sort of half crouched on the edge of that cliff. And as you look down, you see another creature, and you see that both Evelyn and Vidar are trying not to make sound.
Well, I just cast a spell that, has a verbal component, so, I don't think that's terribly subtle in a otherwise quiet chamber, but I'm not going to yell then if I see that, just in case it didn't hear the spell. That'll be my turn. I'm like a little off the ground.
Evelyn, Huxley, Silas, you definitely hear, not too loudly, the sort of echoing mumble. Fairly familiar, the sound of Rend casting a spell.
Evelyn probably can't see, so she's staying tucked in the alcove at the moment, but she's staying quiet at the moment.
When from above you hear, why is everyone so quiet? Echoing through the cave. Silas, you turn and you see a thing slowly approaching Rent as its form slowly becomes visible over the edge of that cliff. Rent! Can you go ahead and make me a DC 14 dexterity saving throw?
Yes, I can. That's a save.
You see it almost sort of reaching under what little sort of skin robe it has and flings something forward. You see this mess of jagged bones and oily substance flitting past you and land on the edge of the pit below with a slight sort of crack of bones, this clacking noise. Evelyn, you see this glob of bones and oil land on the edge. Strangely, from the creature, you see no reaction as it continues to move, almost making a half turn. As you see the bones that were tossed also start to move again.
Delicious. Ugh. I'm gonna hold casting a firebolt if I need to, but I'm not casting it at this point in time. I'm still trying to stay quiet.
Huxley, do you continue searching the cell?
Oh. Just
Was
la
that-
la la la.
Okay. You find another empty cell.
Ah, nothing here. There's one I missed over here.
So, what, do you look? Never mind.
Walk past the creature, walk past Evelyn, back around.
Yeah.
As you walk back around, you probably hear a noise somewhere behind you. As this thing pops into the tar pit.
Like it falls down into it?
It sort of crawls over the edge and just sort of, yeah, falls down into it. Red?
Okay, well, I'm going to, you know what? I don't have good ways of dealing with this, so I'm just going to shoot it quite loudly. My finger guns. Which would be like 21 and plus to hit.
That lid.
Okay. And this will do 12 piercing damage if it takes piercing damage.
It does indeed. Take 12 piercing damage.
Then I'm gonna fly down.
You fly down? Okay.
Yep.
You hear the shuffling of the creature following. And as it comes towards the edge, You see it slowly begin to descend, almost leaving a trail of black sludge, like a snail. Silas, is there anything that you do?
I think it threw it at me.
You see Vidar glide along the side of the cliff, still remaining largely silent. Okay. Both of you find an empty cell.
Does Silas not hear me say that it threw it at me? In response to his question? Or...
I think Rhett was answering you in character.
I answered you in character. I said, I think it threw it at me.
You still search the cell? You find an empty cell.
For the sake of it, if Evelyn glances at the cell she's in, just to make sure that there's not a creature behind her.
You do not see anything inside.
Okay, cool. Just wanted to make sure. And did this one go inside of the alcove, or is it crawling up on the
You
wall?
saw it shuffle around the statue and then likely lost sight of it.
But it's not on the wall.
Yes.
Okay. Then Evelyn will carefully shift out a bit more from her alcove and try and figure out what Red is doing. But I don't know if she can see based on how high these walls are from where she's currently crouched and kind of leaning down kind of next to this.
Probably, I'm assuming Red is flying.
I assume she could see Red. I don't know if she could see what Red's looking at.
Yeah.
The creature
But
is
she's gonna try and be
sort of
watching.
on the side of the wall, crawling
Okay.
along. So you'd likely see the movement.
And it's looking to Red.
Mm-hmm.
And she'll go ahead and throw a firebolt at it. If she can.
I mean, do you have the range?
It's 150. 120.
Something
I'm
new?
assuming it's close.
Yeah, it's exactly 150.
Sorry, no, it's 120. I don't have the range.
Oh, okay. never
Can't
mind.
do anything, never mind. I'm just
Don't
gonna
have the
stare.
range.
No range.
Red?
I have that. Oh, might as well shoot again. You know. Actually, do I have? That should hit still. One of them should hit. For 10 damage. And full. Vidar just snuck away from me, I guess, so I'm just gonna fly out over this. In case Vidar doesn't want me. Oh no, wait, I did see that. I don't know what they want from me.
I just can't help you yet. Sorry.
I'm just gonna like fly toward Winona because Winona is super obvious. So if the creatures wanted to attack her, they would have already. That's my logic.
Well, as you fire a shot
Well, you know.
at this thing,
Uh-huh.
it does lose its grip. Fairly loudly, enough for everyone to hear. You hear this clanking and clattering as this thing splats onto the ground at the bottom. You hear this creaking and cracking of bones as it starts almost sort of reforming itself.
Now can I throw my firebolt that I've been holding?
Sure.
I think that the revolvers being shot were pretty loud, to be fair.
Don't you have finger guns?
Yeah, but they function as revolvers.
Dirty 20.
Wait, are they silent? They say they function as revolvers. I just figured that they were loud.
Well, I mean, they do unless you make unless you want to make a sound with your mouth.
Real? Okay. Okay, well, I guess they're quiet then. I didn't.
So it's been quiet?
I did,
So
apparently
there's
it's
still
been
a sort
quiet.
of noise of the force bolt, you know, and
Yeah.
whatever it hits,
I'll go ahead
but
and do
not.
my
It's not like
firebolt.
ear-shatteringly loud like a
Yeah.
gunshot.
So, dirty 20 for my firebolt.
Mm-hmm. To hit, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll hit.
That... $26 points of fire damage.
Mhm.
That was my reaction. There you
Okay. You hurl a firebolt at it. This pile of bones and leathery skin. And bits and pieces of it, again, fly off under the impact. Scorch marks remain as it stands still, sort of clambering back up. Huxley, Silas. Huxley, you find an empty cell.
Guys, I think you're all empty.
go.
Silas, what are you doing? Okay, you move further up. You find that before you, along this entire rock wall, there is no cells. You see the cells as you look out over the rest of the pit, sort of stretching along a few of the levels. There are plenty of space in between, especially further up where there are none. Rounding a little closer, you also see more movement, likely attracted by some of the noise. Then Red.
Does a 13 hit?
A 13 does not hit.
9 piercing damage to it. little pew pew fingers.
Okay.
And I will continue to like fly past it this way. And it's my turn.
Evelyn.
Since Red doesn't seem to be in immediate danger, Evelyn's curious enough to do a little bit of an experiment. She wants to cast Chill Touch at the creature.
Okay.
It's a ranged spell attack. That's a natural 20.
Okay.
But it's necrotic damage.
Mhm.
That's That's 41 points of necrotic damage.
Nice.
Did I heal it?
Yeah.
You see some of its bones reconstitute.
That's what I thought. Okay.
You did, in fact, heal it.
That's cool.
Give Evelyn a very dirty look.
She kind of just shrugs.
Huh?
Not all undead are immune to necrotic damage. She'd rather know.
From behind you, you hear the dog casting a spell. As he casts darkness. Try not to wake all of them.
Listen, I figured Chill Touch was quieter than Firebolt, so I thought I would try.
I allowed to beat a retreat.
Huxley, where do you move next?
Oh yeah.
I move up. There's lots more doors here.
Immediately you climb up, you hear this fairly quiet noise from this cell. Sounds like clinking almost. As you peer into the alcove, you see intact iron bars and a creature right behind them, gnawing at the metal. You see the metal sort of begin to corrode around its teeth as it's gnawing on them.
So there's a guy here. Are you Boltzmann?
That's what I was
You
asking.
hear this low growl as it just continues gnawing.
I don't know what that means. Rats.
Red,
Sure. I will fly and then dash over there. I
okay.
think that's loud enough to be heard. I think I can get to about here. In a turn.
You hear a fairly loud plop. Yes, you see the creature that had been following you fall into the pit of tar. And for the moment, you are out of initiative again.
Okay.
Silas. The cell is unfortunately empty. As you continue down the line, there's a foul smell emanating from this cell.
That's the truth.
Huxley, Red, what do you guys do?
Fly over. Let's see what it is. Leave it
You
alone.
see a creature gnawing on a bar. It's almost corroded.
I cast mending on the bar.
Oh. You see the bar begin to reconstitute as its edges, as it's almost sort of pristine again, already start to corrode again.
Check the other ones quick. This is a boltsman. He'll be like a human wizardy guy.
Silas, you are faced with pristine and intact metal bars. There appears to be something in the darkness beyond this humanoid form that you can't quite identify. Much like the bones, it lies sort of splayed on the ground. But aside from the smell coming out of the cell, it seems largely intact. You do not receive a response.
You have so many
you
things
smell
here.
that foul, sweetly acidic smell that you smelled before with the creature above. But there is another sweet undertone underneath it, the scent of decay.
Hmm?
You land before another cell. Its bars too are still intact, and you see movement in the darkness. You see this large, hunched over, dark thing in the corner. You find an empty cell. As do Huxley and Red.
We are just not very lucky, you know?
Gonna be the last one you would check. Right up here
Absolutely.
somewhere.
Absolutely.
Like all the way up there. Or all the way up here.
I start moving this way and well, Huxley check this one, I guess. Maybe.
I was just gonna kind of keep an eye on the things in the pool to make sure that they're going back to a mostly
You see one of them slowly wading through the pool, but with its low figure and the viscosity of what lies below, it is incredibly slow.
Which way is it heading? Okay.
Currently this way.
Alright. I was just gonna kind of keep an eye on things. And maybe gather another vial. For, reasons.
Okay. Rhett, Huxley, empty. As you move on to the next one, Rend, you hear Vidar whisper. Another creature. As he slowly and silently moves across above. And all of you discover more empty cells. Silas, as you continue moving forward, you see movement near the edge of the cliff. The thing seems almost frozen in place, holding on to the very edge of the cliff.
Which way is it looking?
It's kind of difficult to tell. Most of its body is sort of hunched over its own head. Currently, its face is looking somewhere in this direction, though.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'm assuming you move relatively quietly.
May as well try to.
As you continue along here, you find empty cell after empty cell.
My goodness. Huxley.
Yeah.
Empty cell.
Ah.
Empty cell. You check the rest of the cells. They're all empty.
Sheesh. Very quietly try to sneak behind this thing and come back.
I think that one was in the cell.
Yeah, that one is in.
Oh, that one's in the cell down there.
Yeah.
I'm gonna like reach inside and cast light.
Okay.
Yeah. Try to like light it up and see what it is better. Just touch a brick or whatever it is.
You light up the inside. The darkness that seems almost slightly unnatural recedes, and you see a body splayed across the floor.
Dang it. I'm gonna come over here and or is that? Yeah, it's close enough. Cast message to Silas. It's a guy. Tell the others. You can reply to this message. Tell the other. Okay, all right, never mind. The bars are intact, though, right?
The bars are indeed intact.
Hey, Silas, can you cast unmending on the bars? Or like breaking, or something? Okay. Let's try to find Huxley. Huxley can probably just bend him. Oh, here's Huxley right here.
Yeah.
Bars.
Side.
He's okay. Need to not be here.
Can I open the cell?
I mean, how do you try to open the cell?
Push the bar to the side.
Okay, give me an athletics roll.
Huh? 25.
You start prying the bars apart. There's already a fairly large gap between them, but you pry them further and further apart. It takes a while. And there is certainly not enough space for a full adult to simply walk through. But you pry them far enough apart that someone small could certainly slip through.
I'm gonna fly down while that's happening. Send a message to Evelyn. Can you come up here? We think we found him.
Right, sure. When we'll make our way up.
As the prying is happening, it sounds like takes a bit.
It'll take her a hot second to fly that way, but she'll be there. Like,
as Huxley
2
continues
rounds.
prying off in the bars, you could easily arrive. Before
Can
the
I
deed is
try
done.
ripping a bar out of the stone?
Seemed like Huxley's
Sure.
struggling.
Go ahead and roll me another athletics check.
I'm gonna give Huxley a inspiration and cast guidance.
That's a
What's that?
plus
D4 and the D12?
4.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There you go. It's
I heard guidance was like the mansplaining of D&D, and I can never unhear it in my head.
Mansplaining?
Oh, it absolutely is. I'm like, oh, you'll get more leverage.
with
If,
you.
yeah, exactly.
Like, here's your vital D4.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's worth it though.
Oh man, okay.
That's wait, 43?
Jeez.
Red, can you go ahead and roll me a dex save?
Yeah, I guess. 15. Wait, 13. No, 15. 15. Final answer.
Huxley, you move towards one of the bar's sort of edges where it, is fastened into the rock itself, and you pull. And to your surprise, with much more ease than you anticipated, you just rip the bar out. To so much surprise, in fact, that you fling it and it goes flying, going right past Red, and with very loud clanks flying down the pit. There's this moment of silence following immediately the loud noise. And Vidar only says, just stay out of their sight. You see him move a little bit closer towards the wall and away from the cliff.
Yeah, Ellen's gonna move
Oh.
up.
Well,
Can Evelyn see what they're seeing inside? See the potential person?
the light's still up.
Yeah.
You see that body there.
Anything with detect magic?
No. Actually, yes. There is a light glow from what appears to be an eye patch underneath a pair of glasses. It
Want me-
certainly looks the part.
You want me to go in and check on him?
Certainly.
Right. Evelyn will try and quietly slide in. He's like seemingly unconscious at a glance, is that correct? Or
He
asleep
is
or
entirely unmoving.
Can I do then using the physical instrument identify on him with discern?
Not me looking up the item that I made.
Sorry, I have it right here. It's just
Yep.
it's I cast it as a action and it
There is a lot of oddities. First, there is an eye missing, clearly signaled by the eye patch. What is instead in that socket appears to be a magical item. The body itself is cold and limp. You are looking at a dead body. It is
Can
in the
I-
early stages of decay. It has begun to sort of smell bad, as it were.
would I
The
be
skin
able
has
to tell
grown
for how
pale
long?
and is starting to slowly lose its consistency. What is strange is your subject's chest. Almost in the same way that there is this spiral pattern on the breastplate that they are wearing, there is a strange deformity underneath. Not just on the surface level, where the skin is sort of pulled and wrinkled in a similar spiral, but even down to the rib cage, there is almost this malleable deformity, as if someone had taken a clay skeleton and just sort of twisted that area. Set into that breastplate is also somewhat of a spike that doesn't seem to pierce the body, as it simply sits in what can only be described as a hole in that man's chest.
With the medicine check, would I be able to make a guess of how long he's been dead? Like under 10 days or more than 10 days?
Yeah.
Nice. So I could do a medicine check?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. 32.
It is fairly cold and dry. Not just down here, but also above, since the sun doesn't really have much leeway to warm up any of the rock on this continent. You would therefore estimate, since it's also been a while since you've seen anything in the way of insects or plants at all in this cave, then likely this body has been dead for over a week. Without a longer study how things decay in this cave or on this continent, there's not much more you can say.
Can I cast Identify on the magic eye?
You would have to lift up the
Yeah.
you'd have to touch
Moving
it.
the eye patch, yeah, and touch the eye.
Sure. Lift up the eye patch. And as you see this metallic eye with a red lens embedded into it, you hear sort of mumbled from Vidar. That does appear to be his. But he doesn't seem the type to just die so unceremoniously.
Possible to remove the spike as well.
To
I know what his
identify.
eye is before I check
Magic
it.
eye.
Didn't the guy above say it was only a few days?
Well, I mean, they haven't really known time well.
That's true.
Okay. I just want to listen. If we're able to bring him back, I'm not gonna be able to identify his eyeball, and I want to know beforehand. I can't then afterwards go, "Hey, can I touch your eyeball?" So he's dead. He's not gonna mind right now. The spike that's embedded in his chest.
It is
Any-
part of his breastplate.
So it is part of the breastplate. That's what I was gonna
Unless
ask.
something specifically sort of used the breastplate to impale him. It seems like a
Does it-
deliberate design.
Does it seem magical at all?
No?
But it goes into like his body. Or at least it looks like it does.
Mm-hmm.
We could certainly try to bring him back. But it
Yeah,
might be
well,
We have to try something.
difficult.
gotta pull him out of there. I mean, unless we wanna
Right.
try it right here in this cell.
He was a wizard. A paranoid one at that. I'm sure there are safeguards.
Do you think he'd have a clone or anything?
A clone would not have been enough. My clones would not have been enough.
Can't
But I'm
sense
sure
anything else.
researching the blight so closely he would have known.
Gotta be something like the spike or something that.
Well, there's nothing else
Anchor.
magical on him except for his eye, which really is just replacing his eye. And he can do some attacks with it.
Well,
If we
okay.
cannot resurrect him, we must find his research.
Right.
Here, at least, let's preserve him.
Can
I'm
someone
speak
And
to a soul.
Not currently.
can Evelyn start searching
Problematic.
and investigating, looking for anything on him?
I'm gonna take out the ferryman's take here and hand them to Upland.
Then
We
we'd
should at
have
least
to
preserve him.
try and bring him back.
Yeah. We should, but like, can
But
we?
it could be dangerous. You yourself have felt the effects. Even if there is something to bring back.
So you want to put the ferryman takes points on it, tails up.
I
I
think
believe
so.
resurrecting Corinne was a different matter entirely.
Yeah, we didn't
He
really.
throws a side glance towards Evelyn.
Evelyn's
We
ignoring
didn't
him.
really
pointedly.
resurrect her in a traditional sense. Yeah. Yeah, kind of a different spell. And yes, I hand the coins to Evelyn.
I won't put the coins on him, but she wants to search before moving him at all.
Mhm.
She wants to try and like search his pocket, see if there's anything anywhere on him, like notes about it. So in case, listen, if they're gonna try and move his body, she wants to
Absolutely.
know what
Yeah.
he's got on him first.
You find a note in his pocket that says, "If you move this body, I block." I'm kidding. You do not find anything in his pocket.
I assumed. he's got
Anything in the cell?
secrets.
We hollow out any of these bricks or his spell book or like.
If he had his spell book on him, I imagine he would have had an easier time getting out of here.
Yeah, that's true.
But
Still check.
No
Just like check. He's been in here a while, right?
yeah, Evelyn will search around the room to double check, see if there's any sort of notes or sign that he was living in here.
What about that brick? It looks loose. That one. I guess guidance. Oh, that brick looks kind of scratched.
You missed the break, Sanch, that one.
Yeah.
19. Yeah.
Maybe.
Investigation. That's a 34.
Okay. You thoroughly search the room, examining bricks, the ground, really anything. There are some very old signs of other sort of movements in here. There are scratches and claw marks that don't appear related. But other than that, you find no loose bricks, nothing out of the ordinary, not even any sign that anyone from the inside even attempted to pry the bars loose.
I don't see anything. I'm not even sure if he was placed in here while he was still conscious or alive.
Doesn't look like he's hurt though. Yeah.
Well,
Weird.
the lichens put him in here to keep him away from like the crystals.
But like he's not even hurt really. Right?
When I did a medicine on check on him, was there any signs of how he died?
No.
This is all weird.
There's sometimes methods of appearing to be dead.
I do not think any of those methods would replicate the decay
Right.
or the smell.
Alright,
So
well,
we can try and move him out of here, and if maybe
Yeah.
we can do something elsewhere, probably not the safest in here.
You still sort of smell this faint undertone of what you usually smell around the blight right now from inside the cell.
I probably have to do further research. Would probably be better back on the ship, but that would be concerning if he does have the blight in him. Now that I came across, no.
This is all very strange. Well, let's get out of here, I guess. I don't know.
We could attempt to wake him here.
I mean, I don't mind.
It would be difficult.
Takes an hour.
Soon.
Like, that's my only concern is that
Right.
that takes
It's not an ideal location.
And with like, yeah. Up to you. I'll do it if you think it's wise. But,
Any time lost will inevitably bring us further away.
Okay. I can start then. That's fine.
Emlyn will, while he's starting the ritual, Emlyn will try and do more of a medicine check to try and like looking, kind of moving his arm around, trying to double check and see if there's any signs of some sort of mortal wound or signs of blight.
Mm-hmm.
But that's because I can't help. Anyway, so that's all she's doing.
Mm-hmm.
Looking for things to keep herself busy with.
Well, would it be of any use because of the blight, and I know a little bit about how it works, to try to cast a greater restoration on the body before resurrection? Like, do you think Brett knows how greater restoration
the body
works?
was somewhat affected by the blight, it would likely not help. If it was affected by a curse, that curse would have likely ended when the creature died.
Yeah.
If it was something that persisted past throughout death, it could certainly help, but in that case, Evelyn would likely have already discovered it.
Yeah.
As a lingering curse.
I would just start casting Raise Dead then.
Okay.
Actually, could you step away? I'm so sorry.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Right, if
I'm so sorry.
both
What have I
you
done?
and Silas could keep an eye on things, make sure that we're not
Thanks.
approached. It'll
You
take
watch
about an
the
hour.
creatures underneath you sort of amble about. You see some of them move close to where the pipe inevitably landed, making the most noise, and sort of just amble about around there. As Rand casts Raise Dead over the next hour. You get the feeling that you could slip. As you finish casting Rend, you feel the spell take hold. You feel a soul enter the body. And you see the body open its eye. It otherwise doesn't move.
Hi. We're gonna get you out of here. Don't worry about it. Reginald sent us.
What do you ask?
I did say, what do you ask?
Mm-hmm. We
What's that
are
one?
here to bring you out of here. Out of here. Are you okay?
You see the eye wander over to Vidar. The head still not moving, nor does any of the rest of its body.
You cannot ask.
I'm gonna look at Evelyn and be like, "That's weird."
How are you feeling?
Existing. 5 more.
I don't think
It's
it's gonna stick around. Let's not hastily say
Right.
things.
Right, I was more trying to see if it was just you.
I certainly have the growing suspicion, and we are not talking to Adivir Boltzmann.
Yeah.
No.
Should we ask where he is, perhaps? That might be a good idea.
Since I am apparently not allowed to ask, which does appear to be very Adivir, ask it what it is.
What manner of creature are you, and or what is your purpose? I don't know. That one question.
I am a soul. Blank. I am here to be asked. 3 remain.
Well, I could either ask where
How
Evelyn's gonna
do
switch
we find Adivir?
right.
Ask it how we find Adivir.
How do we find Adivir Boltzmann?
He'll find you.
That makes sense. Yep.
Hmm. Um. There are several things we could try and see if there's anything that's needed here. And she's not asking, she's specifically looking to Red at this point in time.
Right.
If there's anything here or that's needed that would possibly cover including the remains here, or if there's any of the curse the lycanthrope curse that's needed.
So we should perhaps ask a general question like, is there any work remaining here?
Right.
Something like that.
But it's more specific in the sense because there's lots of work on some level, I'm sure, but.
Is there any of Boltzmann's important work remaining here?
None remains but to leave. To remain.
For a second, Beggar, that took my brain a second to process what you were saying.
Yeah,
Nothing remains but to leave to remain. I was like, what? Wait, what? Oh, right. I just.
Oh, right.
So
Separate
confused.
sentence. Okay.
Right. Could
Yes.
ask where to head next, or
We've gone from following breadcrumbs to apparently everything already being out of our hands.
right.
Here.
As much as I despise the situation, we should probably follow its advice.
Is there a direction then that I would suggest we go?
Are you asking it or me? Up
I'm suggesting
one remains.
as okay.
All right.
That she was asking Rhett.
Yeah.
But yeah. I
Yeah.
guess
Yes.
whatever.
Yeah. All right. Bye. Oh wait. He said. Yeah. He said that one remains. So we have one question remaining. Okay. Alrighty. Like, wonderful.
We could question method it's using for collecting soul to answer questions for it, but
That was my method. I'm like pretty certain. Boy. But we asked. Yes, if there was anything with. We're probably thinking too much about it.
Maybe just ask his favorite color. Yeah.
How about what's his favorite spell?
I don't know.
The eye closes.
right.
Incredibly useful.
Evelyn's gonna go and move to remove the eyeball.
Brett was literally reaching down. Glad we think alike. So the armor is non-magical, but it's like weirdly twisted, right?
Mm-hmm.
Could try and take it off and see if we can understand what's happening there, but that might be more part of whatever spell was used to. It might be
Yeah,
for
probably.
research purposes. We can take it and put it in your bag.
Unless it's got blight on it, because I kind of trust Silas on smelling weird things.
Well, maybe it's his body that has the blight and not the armor.
I don't know if I care to find out if it's not particularly.
Evelyn does want to at least detach the armor enough to try and understand, is it actually impaling the body?
Okay.
She's not going to take it. She's just trying to see, is it a spike that's actually impaling the body?
Yeah, as you sort of unclasp the breastplate and lift it up, the body is in not the greatest state to begin with, even with it being resurrected. There's still this definite smell of decay now that you lift up the breastplate. And it does appear like the spike is simply impaling the body. But it almost seems so form-fit that it seems deliberate.
Mm-hmm. Evelyn will reluctantly leave it there since she can't put it in her bag and Rhett doesn't want to put it in his.
What, you want to wear an armor that's going to impale you? Good. Okay.
No. She wants to figure out if that's how Boltzmann somehow attached a blank soul to a body. Was it some sort of ritual that was done with the armor? But that's fine. You don't want to take plate armor. It's okay.
I mean, I'm relatively. Yeah.
Yeah. I was just answering your question as to why she was looking at it.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Evelyn will. Is the body dead now again?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Well, we've got the eyeball, but she will.
Actually, do you think this actually is like Boltzmann's body or was?
Possibly. You might be able to take a part of it for something like scrying or
That is exactly what I was thinking.
locating a creature, something along those lines.
I'm gonna take some beard trimmings.
Not the beard.
But, right.
Very likely, yes. I think we've been told that.
Sometimes having a piece of body can assist.
Got Boltzmann's beard.
Once Rhett leaves, Evelyn's gonna cut off one of the pinky fingers and put it in her pouch, and then she will leave. It's pretty cool. I will just stick it over here.
Oh no, a horrible accident. I ran and had scissors in my hand. And, I guess I'll take the eye.
Ellen should never have this eye. Anytime she glared at someone.
It is pretty good though.
Mm-hmm. Weirdly enough, rules as written, I think Evelyn could use this. Because with one of her artificer things, is a gadget smith, allows her to use a magic item regardless of a requirement.
Nice.
It doesn't make any sense to me.
I'm pretty sure you. Yeah, you've got contact lenses and an eyepiece.
Too many things.
Just stick them all together.
Instead
like
of
Mad Eye
regular
Moody.
goggles, you just have the a half eyeball on it.
Yeah.
It's like one of those silly glasses. Oop. Well, that was not what I wanted to do. But it's what I did.
Mm-hmm.
The updated a copied object. I forgot that it will reload the whole thing when it does. Oops. I blame the heat.
That's fair.
Okay.
I guess
So,
we'll
how do you plan to get out?
Are there
get
any of us that
Winona
can't
somehow.
fly?
Yeah,
Yeah, no
Winona.
one right.
Can we all like just take a hand under Winona and fly together in a big circle of kumbaya?
Sure.
We each take a hoof and go woo.
You start flying up toward the darkness.
Mm-hmm. Can I very carefully keep an eye on things with detect magic? I'm personally vaguely concerned with the idea that there's somebody supposed to replace the lichen.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm trying to make sure that there's no sorts of magic that are lingering to anybody, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. You fly up towards the ceiling. As you sort of delve into this darkness, you can fairly easily make out with your true vision, and similar to if the cave was vaguely egg-shaped, it sort of comes to a point near the top. The same size as the dome that you fell in through. In fact, you see the floor from the underside. It has the same sort of pattern on its underside as on the top. There are still cracks in it, but these cracks are actively filling with stone, debris, and dust, floating up or rather falling backward. As it appears the floor has remade itself.
Oh, good.
Is it fully sealed?
Towards the edges, towards the outside of the pattern. In fact, outside of the sort of outer ring of it, going around the pillars, there are holes. Holes that you could easily fit through.
So try to fly out one of these holes, I guess.
As you start flying through these holes, you are extremely careful not to touch its walls, as it appears to be covered in that same blackish blood. Giving you an idea perhaps where those falls came from. But you fly on through and come out into the dome. This time without the large creature. Evelyn, as you look around, the magic is still there. It is still very much active.
I think we should just keep flying now. Unless Evelyn tells us one of us is the new guardian.
You fly up?
Yeah.
You fly up towards the hole in the dome ceiling. And as you are about to reach the edge, Evelyn.
Yeah.
You see this bluish hue of magic that runs alongside the dome cover the flat plane of the hole.
I was gonna say a foul curse in gnomish under her tongue, like under her breath.
What?
I can't leave.
There's a magic dome.
Like all of us, or we're just one of us?
It's hard to say. What the magic of this pit is still very active.
Okay, so dispel it for a minute,
Possibly.
maybe.
Do I have...
Yeah.
I wish you hadn't said it like that. The
Put the
horny wolf
lotion on
comes
your
around
skin.
the corner and says, "Uwu glumps you."
The magic that Evelyn can see,
Yes.
can she tell how strong this magic is? Like with an Arcana check?
It seems much like the rest of what is around you.
Mm-hmm.
Divine in origin.
Yeah.
Well, we can go ahead and just put up the mansion and figure it out tomorrow with a little.
You hear faint footsteps.
Okay, or something.
And you see a head peering over the corner. The head of a wolf. As indeed who was called for peers over the edge.
You found your compatriot.
But we are done.
Perhaps you did not look hard enough. Are you sure?
I mean,
Leave them.
also we found you.
I understand. Better than you think. There must be a keeper. To keep the keep. But you are not of fallen lichen blood.
You see him crouch down,
Mm-hmm.
reaching out his hand, sort of pointing out with his claw, and then draw a line along the blue shimmer, appearing to cut through it.
I think we can go.
And then you see him jump over the edge.
Mm-hmm.
Below you, you see this billow of dust as he lands and looks back up towards you. And you see the rest of the blue fade.
There must be a keeper.
Sorry, the rest. Yeah. I will.
Someone's really glad she dispelled that
Thank
lycanthrope.
your friend.
Thank your friend.
You mean the boltsman?
You see him already sort of turned,
Mhm.
shuffling towards the darkness.
It's best we leave.
Yeah.
I will keep flying up.
You hear the screech of the cleric beast after. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, actually, now that I think about it, it was more Bloodborne than Dark Souls. Yeah. Damn it! I should have.
Great. So we're exactly back where we started.
You fly up over the edge. Where you see a figure standing in front of you.
Freaking jerk face. This jerk face.
Cast powered stun.
Took you quite a while. I had an enlightening conversation with that fellow down there.
Yeah, he's was quite helpful.
You see his eyes wander over to Vidar, not saying anything, and neither does Vidar.
Well,
Outwards and onwards. Come along then. And he just starts walking.
Hey, Huxley, you should walk beside him probably.
Silas. One thing that you do notice is that faint smell of the blight coming off of him.
Oh, yes.
And that is where we end today's session.
Oh,
Well,
this guy.
Not quite. Perhaps
Interesting.
not yet. All right.